Hello everyone. Welcome to the basics of lag efficiency. Lag efficiency is something that is very important for a lot of farms. And there are a lot of reasons asking, why do you need to be so lag efficient every single time, and why do I use so little redstone dust, etc., etc. And I am going to explain a few things, because a lot of it is not very complex, but is very useful and can help you a lot with redstone contraptions. And also making sure if you don't have a very powerful server could also help you basically not crash your server or whatever. Let's go over some of the things that we're going to be talking about in this video. Number one, why do we care about lag efficiency? Which is a decent question, but I still do get questions like this. Number two, redstone dust, and why do we use the term dustless? What does the term dustless mean? And why do I not use redstone dust? Number two is pistons versus rails in terms of lag efficiency, since pistons can also be very laggy and rails at the same time. Three is slime and pistons. Slime versus pistons, because one might be more laggy than the other. 4 being light updates, and 5 being block updates. Alright, so all these things are going to be very important to go over, and we'll get over that soon. Why do we care about lag? Well, lag is incredibly important. I'm not talking about FPS lag, because that is completely determined by your computer, but I'm talking about server-side lag. Server-side lag is incredibly important in a lot of situations. Server-side lag could be the difference between being able to get 50,000 items per hour or just 3,000. Or not even be able to run the farm at all because your server just keeps crashing. And it is definitely a big cause to a lot of farms breaking and not working because of a lot of other reasons. Alright. For example, if you have a farm that runs at about 300 MSBT, which the higher is the worst, so the higher your MSBT is, the more laggy your farm is, or your server is, or etc., etc. And you want lower MSBT. So with 1 MSBT, this is good. I want 1 MSBT. Most of my tree farms have the term dustless in the title. And the reason why I use the term dustless is because there is no dust updates while the farm is running. The reason why dustless is important is because dust actually causes a lot of block updates. At least in 1.12, each time you power a piece of dust, each time it goes from power level 15 down to 0, each time it goes from 15 to 14 to 13 to 12, and so on and so forth, all the way down to it gets to 0. So it goes through all those phases instead of just skipping, which is incredibly big brain coding from Mojang. As you can see, it causes a lot of lag. So if I just power this redstone dust right here and turn it off, the MSBT stays the same. It goes up about a full MS, which is pretty bad. Alright, and if I just flick this lever over and over, as you can see, the MS is going up a ton. Instead, if I were to place a rail here. So a rail, at least according to a few people, rails in newer versions, I'm not sure if this has changed, but are a little bit worse than dust, I think, in newer versions. But don't rely on me for that. I don't play newer versions very often, and I might be very wrong when it comes to that. But yeah, we'll see. So rail flicking on and off is in this core better. It'll be better over long periods of time. Anyways, it's not really apparent here, but still. Anyways, all right. So redstone dust is a very big lag causer, and each time you use a full stream of 15 mounts of redstone dust, it can update pistons from right here. So if I just grab myself a piston right here, and I butt it. So if I add some slime, like so, and I butt it, this is what a block update does. If I power this, the piston gets updated. Basically, redstone dust sends in a huge amount of block updates. Huge amount. And that's why it's so laggy. The amount of block updates it sends out. And rails are automatically less than that. Rails only send out block updates to these blocks right here. So a piston right here will not get updated, but a piston right here would. And that's the main reason why rails are just better than redstone dust. And in newer versions, this might have changed. Redstone dust is more acceptable. However, I still don't recommend using it. Yeah, basically. Anyways, if you are a person who doesn't really like using rails and redstone dust, there are ways around it, and you might be saying, oh yeah, rails are worse though because they can't be transferred instantly. You can't have instant lines. And that you'd also be wrong, because you can also do slime buds like this. And then you can also just do something like this. And something like this would also be an instant line. Because if we do this right here, like so, and we have this power lamp, we update this, power this. As you can see, it's instant. These two piston update lines, but at the same time. Therefore, it's just correct. Anyways, Besides that, rails can be used in the similar ways to redstone dust, but you need to be powering things more creatively. Alright, let's move on to the term dustless. The term dustless means no dust updates while the farm is running. Depending on who you ask, they might say just no redstone dust at all. You can't even have redstone dust in the farm. But in my opinion, redstone dust is no dust updates while the farm is running. Alright. And dustless is a term that can be used in a lot of ways. No dust updates, and dust redirection like this causes no block updates. Therefore, it'd be considered no dust updates. So as you can see right here, it does not power this piston. However, if we were to place something like this and have the power level change in the thing, as you can see, it updates and powers. So basically, the signal changing from power level 15 to power level 14 is powering this piston. Those minor changes like that are the term between dustless and dustful. Alright. The reason why, once again, some people might consider it as no dust at all, being dustless. Alright. And now we move on to the different discussion. Pistons, right here, versus rails. So, pistons are also inherently laggy. According to Floppy, who, has put a lot of time into studying lag efficiency, pistons are the next worst compared to redstone dust. So it's redstone dust as laggiest, and then pistons. And pistons are pretty bad. So pistons, and first of all, just make a lot of block updates. I mean, just right here, block updates, just right here. Inherently more than redstone dust. So if I just place a very fast clock with a piston, like so. Yeah, let me just do a very fast clock right here. And I power it. It's inherently worse. So as you can see, it's a lot worse. I mean, it's worse than redstone dust. But that's it clocking. If I just power a piston, it doesn't really do much. But with cases like that, it's very important to minimize piston updates. Which is why I'm going to use this farm as an example again. We try and minimize as many pistons as possible. And although that might be not very consistent, 2x2 Spruce Farms do use a lot of pistons. But it's limited to the fact that it runs decently well on a server. The amount of pistons here is also incredibly bad, because pistons, when they push, also cause light updates, which we'll get onto later on. Alright, I'm going to be using my newest tree farm for an example here. Why do I use slime and pistons so much for instant bud lines? So instant bud lines are incredibly useful because, I don't know, they're just great. And they're incredibly useful because they can move a lot of power upwards and downwards and etc, etc. But if pistons are so laggy, why do I use them? Well, pistons are laggy because of light updates, which we get into later on in the video. But, yeah. Basically, what happens is when I use these pistons right here, a lot of it goes away. And the reason why I use slime blocks here is because slime blocks are inherently better than pistons. Because slime blocks just cause block updates, while pistons have a whole bunch of other properties that they need to deal with. Slime blocks don't. And in a lot of senses, slime blocks are literally just better. And although they do need to be pulled by a piston and a lot of other stuff, it can still also be just much better in every other case. And this is why in most of my farms that you use, most of my spruce tree farms rather, use a lot of slime blocks because they're incredibly nice. And they can be used in a lot of different ways to make a lag very minimal. And as you can see here, slime is incredibly important. Without slime, farms like these would still be possible, but very difficult. I mean, obviously, slime farms like these were possible back then. I mean, if you just go look at some of Van Gogh's tree farms, slime was definitely there. Slime was before slime was there, rather. Like his 1.7 farms and etc. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, slime is just incredibly important in that case. So, slime and pistons are inherently better than just spam amount of pistons, which is exactly why, if I turn on Creative No Clip, if I go through here and you look at these leaf crushers, that is why I don't use many pistons, because pistons are just laggier than slime. Instead of using a piston wall like this, something like this, we are only, which is about, entire piston wall like this is a lot of pistons, so it's 2 pistons per 2 leaves. In this case, it's 2 pistons for around, 18 leaves, which is inherently just better. Actually, a little bit more than 18, because you also have these right here. So, a little bit more than 18, which is just better for sapling collection. Number 1, sapling collection, and number 2, just lag efficiency in general. Making a slime literally the best leaf crusher. And it has tons of attachments that you can add on. You can add trapdoors right here, which crush leaves and leave saplings, like right here. and stay there. And I could go on for a long time about this, of why it's important to use slime and leaf crushers and stuff, because pistons are just laggy, and that's about it. And in a lot of occasions, at least in terms of tree farming, slime is just better. That does not mean whether you have the chance of using a normal piston for something and a sticky piston or something with slime on it, that does not mean you should be always using a slime. Because one piston is still better than one piston and two blocks being moved. So it's still important to minimize the amount of blocks you push, because moving blocks are still cause block updates and lag. So it's still important to not do that, but it's still nice to, if you have issues like these where you can need to just cover a large area and you don't want to use that many pistons, use slime. And if you still want to use the least amount of lag as possible, use slime. But if it comes down to conventional uses like this, always use normal pistons. Once again, if you have the choice between doing this and this, arguably just block is going to be better. And slime is going to be a little bit worse. Although, yeah, you get the idea. Yeah, basically just don't use slime all the time. If you have a choice between a normal block and a slime block, probably better to go with a normal block, because it's just better. And if you need to use a transparent block, then I guess honey exists now. And I'm not going over honey, because it's newer versions and it has the same properties as slime, basically. But yeah. And also I hate honey, but that's besides the point. Anyways. Alright, I'm about to show in extreme conditions the lag of light updates. So I'm here at Y around 240, and once I power this block right here, this redstone block is going to go off, which powers all these pistons, and then this command block right here is going to set it to air. And I just have a bit of block of delay in the middle. Alright, if I power this, the server immediately goes to a halt and goes up to around 16 ms, which is pretty bad. Alright. Yeah, so now we added a roof to the system, and if I just activate it now, as you can see, it worked pretty much fine. As you can see, the pistons are not having issues, and the server isn't actually that laggy anymore, which is a big difference, right? So, as you can see right here, compared to what we used to have, this is a lot better. There's not really much more we can go over. Block updates we've already kind of gone over already. It's not really much, and I mean, you'll hear the term a ton, and you'll kind of understand it a lot. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I've been very busy, hence why I've only gotten to editing this video a week after I recorded it, so that's quite funny. But, yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry for the lack of uploads, but I probably won't upload much in the next few weeks because I'm also busy with school, since that's about to wrap up and I'm having final tests and etc. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and if you guys want more, please subscribe, and if you guys want to check out everything else, check out my Twitch, anything, go ahead. They're all down in the description. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Bye-bye.